If I'm allowed to mention Hansi Hansmann, he always talks about this magic situation that he had on one of the first Startup Life events, where he always tells the story that he met there those four guys. They had this idea called Runtastic. Startup 300 is investing in startups, but not only in terms of money, but also in terms of our sweat equity. So we help our startups, especially with experience, with know-how, with our network, and also with access to capital. Usually we do little investments in cash, like 20K up to 50K max. But I think we position ourselves more like a co-founder, which means that in a team of three, we would be the fourth guy who is actually responsible for different things. And out of 120 business angels that we have on board, we have co-founders for almost everything, I would say. We do have 28 startups at the moment where we are invested, and I think there are different types where we get engaged. So one of my favorite examples would be Peter Buchreutner from Swell. It's really a good example because we know each other for so many years that he gets advice for almost every situation, from his personal life also to his professional life, which I think for him most of the time is very helpful because I do take an outside perspective. It's also very helpful for him because the investors know each other. Swell does have investors like Hansi Hansmann and Stefan Kaltes and Startup 300 as well. And that makes us a really good team because we are all Startup 300 members and we are all sort of a family. Because Startup Life is for us really the first step on a ladder, let's say, to become a startup founder or become a successful entrepreneur. And Startup 300 should be a supporter of events like Startup Life. And this should be all over Austria, this should be all over Europe, and it should be frequently enough so everybody has the chance to join a Startup Life. It's about the experience. From my point of view, they get a lot of mentoring. They do get advice on a level where they don't have enough time to adopt over months. They have to adopt within hours to feedback. It's a huge challenge. You have to overcome yourself, get on stage, do pitching in front of people you've never met before. You have to work together with people you've never met before, and I think that really shows if you do have the entrepreneurial DNA that it takes to become a startup founder. So this is the reason why we will support Startup Life in the future as much as we can, and we do love the Startup Life family as well. If I'm allowed to mention Hansi Hansmann, he always talks about this magic situation that he had on one of the first Startup Life events, where he always tells the story that he met there those four guys. They had this idea called Runtastic, and this was the beginning of a story that everybody knows what happened, and it changed a lot. And also the founders of Startup Life and the supporters of Startup Life, they ended up doing the Pioneers Festival. So Startup Life has been there all the time and is a very important part of the ecosystem. So I think that makes Startup Life already the most important thing in the ecosystem, and it's the beginning of such an amazing story that will end hopefully only at the borders of, I don't know, decide yourself, Europe, the world, I don't know.